So today we're going to cover the Tafee Bowle Series 2 on the walk and talk. I brought it with the Delta Vault. I got 7 pots on me. I say we start off by vaping a bowl. 5 button clicks to turn it on. 1 more to fire it up, already ready. The thing I love about the Tafee Bowle Series 2 is it's super smooth, like the draw. Really smooth on the throat, really easy to take a rip off of. Super open, which is awesome. And as you can see, hopefully with the GoPro, the AVB is always really nice, dark and even. And then to clear these pots out, usually what I do when I'm on a walk is I blow on the back side of them and they clean right out. And with the Delta Vault, I could store 7 extra pots on here. So as I'm walking around, I could just load another one up and be ready to go for the next bowl, which is super nice. So we got 6 left and 1 in the chamber. The other positive I can say about the Tafee Bowle Series 2 is the hit strength is very good. I would consider it almost as good as the Frolic. It's slightly less potent in my opinion. The vapor, however, tastes a lot better. It's a lot smoother. But outside of that, the potency is really the biggest difference between the two in vapor quality, in my opinion. They're currently probably the top 2 vapes you could buy in the battery space without getting into, like, say, a Lamart vape or something from Dan Morrison, which are really hard to get. So what I would consider production vapes, the Frolic and the Tafee Bowle Series 2 right now are leading by quite a large margin. The other part that's nice about the Tafee Bowle Series 2 is its battery life. It's very good. I get about 25 bowls, not draws, but 25 bowls they charge. And I've only charged it maybe 5-6 times since I got it. And I've had it since, I believe, April, which is pretty good. I mean, I do have a lot of vapes, so it's not that I've most used. So this is probably the battery vape that I use the most outside of the Frolic still. And before I got the Frolic, this was easily the one I used the most. And the reasons was airflow is super open. The Potter system I find very easy to load and refill, especially when I work on the road a lot where I'm driving. Being able to throw this in my car with 7 pots on it and 1 in the chamber, plus the battery life to make it throughout the day, is pretty much gold. And if I'm going somewhere, I would just load the Potter up with another 8. And if 25 bowls can't get me through the day, I probably got problems. So that's definitely a convenient part of this. The other things that are nice is the build quality. To me, the fit and finish on this is much better than a lot of vapes. It's a very polished product. It's not something that feels beta. It doesn't feel like it needs a whole lot of additional things. On the bottom, you have a little stir tamp tool. As far as stirring, I've never used it for that, but the tamp part's kind of nice. But it's a nice little feature. The other part is the stem. You have the shorty stem, which I like because it gives you a little bit more of a throat hit. Personally, I find that valuable. I used to be a smoker. But the longer stem is smoother. Also makes it a little more portable. Personally, I don't find this hard to carry. It's very, in my opinion, it feels really good in the hand like this. Definitely not a pocketable vape, though. That is the one downside, is you're not going to be putting this in the pocket. I mean, you could be disconnecting that and throwing it in your pocket, but it's still a very hefty device. So those are kind of the ups and downs of it in a nutshell. But it's a nice looking device. The other thing I did with it was on the 4th of July, I put the cup on here and I took it to the 4th of July celebrations downtown. And I just walked around, you know, taking a few sips and taking a few sips. And it got me through the day, which was nice. And no one asks a whole lot of questions, and I don't live somewhere where you can necessarily do that. And design factor, I think there's some merit to it, even though I think most of us would prefer something that's a little more traditional. But there are instances where this comes in handy. If I go to a wedding, not many people are going to ask many questions about a cup. If I go to a family reunion, same thing. Most people aren't going to question a cup. Yeah, they might see the silly stem, but they're not going to wonder a whole lot about it because it's a cup. No one thinks you're doing drugs out of the cup. Major benefit. Being able to store your pots on you, major benefit for things like that. The other thing that I contemplated after getting this was I used to think that I wanted a vape I could stick in my pocket all the time. And the truth is, unless I'm doing this, or I'm hiking, and I have other vapes that fit that need, realistically, I'm probably putting this down on a table, a counter, sitting next to me, maybe in my car. Rarely do I actually keep a vape in my pocket more than, I don't know, an hour. So I find the form factor, at least for me, to be pretty much a non-issue. But yeah, it would be nice if you could stick it in your pocket, for sure. Now, for vapor performance, I would say this is in the top 2. And it's a real toss-up between this and the Frolic for me right now. It's kind of the 2 I'm deciding between which my top portable. And a lot of it has to do with this is the speed. Like if I wake up and I'm going to hit the door and go to work, I can hit that button in 2 seconds. It's ready to rip. All right, so now let's get into some comparisons for vapor quality. The Tafee Bowle 2 on a battery, which is all we're going to compare it to, is probably the best tasting one in my opinion, other than like, say, again, the Back X, which is not easy to obtain. For as far as easy to obtain vapes, this is my favorite for flavor. It's the fastest. That's one of the reasons I use it a lot early in the morning when I'm just trying to get out of the house. Hit the button, smack it. If I need another one, pull another pot out, do it again, but I can have 2 rips done in a minute. Most vapes can't do that. Easy to clean too. Now between like say a venti and this hits in my opinion a lot harder. It's much more of a traditional convection vape experience. You get good flavor, good hits as far as power goes and strength. Something that you don't necessarily get with the venti. I think the venti is great, but it's definitely a softer vapor. This has a little more bite to it. I like the convection style rips. The Tiny Mite 2, honestly, I just find the battery life on that one to be a real drag. It was good early on in its development cycle, but in 2025, I want a little more battery life out of things. So I've kind of written that one off almost completely at this point. So with the Tafee, I really think the best comparison and the only vape I think it's fair to really compare it to would be the Frolic. And that would be a lot to do with the vapor quality, both probably among the 2 most potent battery portables you can find. The speed at which they extract, probably the top 2 there as well. Flavor, has an edge on it. Potency, however, I think the Frolic to me feels more potent. I feel like I get a little better effects out of the Frolic than I do the Tafee Bowle Series 2, but I think a lot of that could be, the size of the load. This load's not very big. We're going to take another rip, but watch how fast this. All right, so now it's ready to go. I'm going to hit the button and watch how fast this actually is ready. Once those lights turn green, it's ready. Nice big cloud. I'm sure it's extracted great again. Always the same with it. It's always great. We'll take one more rip to see what's left, but probably not a whole lot. A little more than I expected. And then to clean it out, I just blow on that side. Nice and clear. Really hard to beat the convenience of this. And then I just open this up, pull my little pot out, stick another little pot in, put the pot back in, and I'm pretty much ready to do more pot. It's the best chain smoking device I've. Sorry, I got lost there. I had to bring the drone in. It kind of flew off back to its home location. Battery was getting low. But as I was saying, the speed at which you can do these pots is crazy. I love this Delta 3D Vault. If you need to pick up anything from Delta 3D, I do have a code there. The code's too high. I believe you save 5%. And then I am just giving whatever commissions I get back into giveaways. I'm not trying to make money off you guys, at least not yet. I'll keep it 100. If I do decide to try to make a little money doing this, I will let you know.